Hey guys, it's Wednesday afternoon and we have another great Speedway Chat show. How are you, Wilbur? You good?
We're doing great. How are you, Jez?
Wonderful. It is absolutely chucking it down here in the UK. How's it where you are? I'm sure it's not raining.
No, I mean, we're looking at some rain this weekend, so which could be good for us because we're having a couple races here in the next couple of weeks. So you get some moisture in the ground will be great. Looking forward to my debut on the 500. It's just almost 3 times a week and focusing on diet, nutrition, and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to all of that. And we just watched some Supercross, which is great that they're having fans over here in the States now. Only a few, but it's a start for sure. And I don't know, how's lockdown going over there?
Like for me personally, I'm like real busy. I think everyone's gone crazy with like trying to get all their media sorted and advertising and things like that for when things open back up. And luckily, most of the stuff I can do just here in my office. I don't have to go anywhere, so it's not so bad. But you guys have got a new president, so who knows what's going to happen in the coming weeks.
That's official for like an hour or so now. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We're afraid of all the riots and stuff that's been happening. So who knows what's going to happen after this? Yeah. But hopefully our country can keep it together.
So we have Nicolai Klindt. He's an amazing rider. He's done a lot of riding in the UK, like there's a lot of the riders have sort of come to the UK and left and concentrate in Poland and Sweden and stuff, but Nicolai's been here a long time, and I see him like he's an ultimate professional. His kit's always good and stuff like that. He's doing a lot of media stuff, and he's traveling a lot. I've picked out one of his promo video and stuff, and it looks slick. For a Speedway rider, there's not many Speedway riders that are putting that extra effort in, and it looks good. So just before we start and go in, I just want to say a massive thanks to Speculate to Accumulate. Ian Jordan, thanks very much for everything you do and help us with our advertising and all the rest of it. And should we play Nicolai's promo video first?
Oh, hell yeah. We need to
Let's
have a good introduction here. I mean, it's Nicolai Klindt.
Let's watch his promo video. Like, this is just straight from YouTube. So he did send me a copy of it, and it wouldn't load. So, but anyway, here it is. So here's Nicolai Klindt's promo video.
I started riding when I was 5 years old, and my dad took me to his mate's house where I tried a small bike. And later that year, I started riding. I think being a Speedway rider is one of the hardest sports when you think about the traveling. Because I ride in 3 different countries, 3 different leagues. I fly to every single race meeting I have. Last time I had a full season, I did 80 flights, forth and back. So it's a lot of traveling time. It's a lot of time away from my family. But it's all worth it. It's what I want to do. And if I was complaining and moaning about it and not happy, then maybe I should find a job in an office or something. It's what I want to do, and you take the good with the bad. Last year in the start of June, I had a really bad accident. I tore my ligaments in my knee, the ACL and the MCL, and also the meniscus who's sits inside your knee. I tried to ride again, but it was not possible, and I had an operation in August last year in 2017. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Like, it's a cliche, but it took a lot of hard work, and I think that the injury and the fact that I had to put so much hard work into it have made me a much better rider, but also a better person now. My name is Nicolai Klindt, and I'm a professional Speedway rider. It's everyone's dream. It's what you work so hard for, and to be able to do it, to be able to win is the best feeling ever.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present Nicolai Klindt. Hey, bud, how are you?
Hey, guys. I'm
You
all
all
good
good?
here, thanks. Yeah, I'm all good. You?
Good. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Perfect.
How's the whole coronavirus situation going for you? Is it 2 seconds? I can hear the next video playing. How's the whole coronavirus thing gone for you? We had a brief chat just before the show. You said you got a few meetings in last season, so it wasn't a complete disaster, but obviously not what you'd like.
No, obviously not. I think in 2019, I had around 85, 86 meetings doing 4 leagues. And this year I managed to get 27, 28 in. So obviously it's nowhere near a normal season. But then again, I think my first meeting was in the start of July, and my last meeting was in the middle of October. So it was a bit of a strange one. Obviously not just for me, but for everyone. But luckily enough, I got a few meetings under the belt, unlike some others.
I see. It's such a bummer that, but I mean, for you, do you feel like your season was just every race was almost a new like the first season of or first race of the season, going into that kind of race? You would always have to just focus on going direct into it, not having to worry about anything else. Just honestly, just send it. Don't have to worry about anything else, and just go in and do what you got to do. Did you feel like you had that pressure off your shoulder that you just, and you know what, if this is a weird season, so I mean, why not just go for it?
Yeah, sort of. Oh, yes, sort of along those lines. I put everything into the preseason prep this year, and I was really ready. Come 1st of March, I've been to France early March to practice and test all my stuff before we sent my bikes to England, and then I went to Poland. And then on the day that Poland locked down, I had I was practicing there, so I had to get a flight quick back. So it sort of halted then, and then we had a couple of months off, and then we started going again. And like you said, it was very strange, because I actually had that kind of feeling like it was every race, my first race and my last race. So I had to sort of give it everything, because I had to prove that I was good enough, kind of thing, more for myself than anyone else.
So what have off the track?
Just...
What have you? Oh, sorry, where we go?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so what have you been doing to keep yourself entertained off the track?
Since the season's finished?
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose the season was quite short for you, so the amount of meetings you had in that time sort of worked out similar to what you would have had before, or?
Oh yeah, it was all right. Like in the season, I started racing Poland in July, so I was doing a lot of testing, a lot of practicing. But then I was pretty fortunate, because I hooked up with the sports clinic in Austria where I was staying. So I was seeing them 1 hour training and 1 hour physio every single day in the weekdays, and then we raced every Sunday or Saturday, obviously. And then Sweden started in August, so I was pretty busy from then on. And then the season finished in October, and then I've just been sort of trying to prep for 21. and then I had loads of personal things going on, which have sort of stopped that a bit, and trying to catch up now. So so we can be ready for the new season.
So now, going back to the day everything shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a doubt in your mind where you were like, you know what, I'll just skip this season? Or after that, those, you know, I don't know how many months it was till we had Speedway again, did you feel like you were just, nope, I'm done, we'll wait till next season? Or did you feel like you just wanted to get back out and ride after that time?
I didn't honestly. I didn't think that we was going to wait till, well, the extra legal riders waited till the middle of June, didn't they? And I waited till July. I didn't. I only thought it was going to be a month or so, and then we would be back riding again. My friends and stuff called me naive, but I was like, nah, we'll be all right. So I think that was sort of a good thing, because I always believed that I would get back racing again. So I was still trying to keep fit, do my running, workouts and stuff like that, and also up here, you know, that's the most important part of your body, to be focused on what you're going into. And I think the main thing was that I put so much effort into my pre-season that I didn't want to wash it all away and just sit back and have a beer and eat fish and chips. You know, I just wanted to keep the ball rolling in case we started, so I was as well prepared as I could.
Cool. I'm pretty much on a strict fish and chip diet. Yeah,
I can see that. Nah,
thanks. So where are you for 2021? Are you all sorted everywhere where you're going for this season?
Yeah, I'm more or less sorted. As it stands now, I'm back at Ipswich in the Premiership in England. I did a deal with them after being at Poole for 3 years for the 2020 season. Obviously, we didn't spin a wheel, so I said to Chris that we just moved it over to 21, and he was cool with that. So I'm really looking forward to race for them, also because of the program and everything going on in the club, and with Jason Crump joining the team as well, makes it a little bit I don't know if you call it sweeter, but it was one of my childhood heroes, so it's pretty cool to be racing on the same team as him. And then I moved from Holsted in Denmark, where Nicky Pedersen rides, and been there for 9 years. So I'm going to Voyens, which is owned by Jakob Olsen, Ollie Olsen's son. Really looking forward to that. That's going to be a big thing. Very, very excited for the things to come with the club there. And then I'm staying in Ostrów in Poland in the first league, which is going to be my 4th consecutive season for them. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we had Hans Sanderson on the other week, and he was saying that he's going to be at Voyens as well. And is it this is the first year that they're back in the top flight in Denmark? Is that right? Or
yeah, I think they rode in 2000 and I might be wrong, 2010, 11, something like that. And Hans rode for them back then as well. And then they were meant to be back in the league for the 2020 season. And yeah, I had a chat with them in August, I think it was, and then had a meeting with Jakob and Helge, which is Nicky Pedersen's old manager, which is sort of a managing director down there now. And yeah, they told me their plans, and we made a deal a couple of weeks later.
Wow, I mean, it's crazy how stuff just changes that fast, and then but you're still able to keep the right people at your side, and they obviously understood, you know, the situations with everyone. And are you looking for what league are you looking forward to the most next year?
That's a good question.
The fish and chips in England are pretty good.
Yeah, okay, Indian after the meeting.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a nice guy now, but I'm actually looking forward to all the leagues for different reasons. But the one I'm looking forward to the most is probably the Danish one, because I'm Danish. I love riding in Denmark, but also with everything that they got going on behind the scenes. And it's not just that they're putting a team in the league. They want to build Vojens as the biggest and most popular and best exposed club in Denmark, and not just bring the club up to a different level, but also Speedway in general on a different level in Denmark. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that. And obviously with the GP being at Vojens in September, I hope I can sneak in the back door there and get a wild card for that round.
Cool. So I went through your Facebook and we found some photos, which is what we like to do.
I bet you found some good ones.
Oh, I found some great ones. I mean, we've had a lot of comments about your riding and stuff like that, and saying you're very professional and you're a good racer and this and the other. But the one thing is that you've been struck with injuries quite bad over the years. Can you explain what happened in this photo? That does not look good.
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't like feet are not going to like this photo.
It was actually not a riding, and it was not from a riding incident. It was in the 2010. In 2010 we had 2 Danish finals, and in the first round I think I finished 2nd or 3rd, and in the second round I touched the tapes in my first heat, and then I won a heat, and then I think I took Leon Madsen off in the first corner and got excluded. And then back in the day, my fuse wasn't very long, so after I smashed the phone, there was a chair in front of me and I kicked it, and obviously it was a steel frame, and it I think it hurt my foot more than the chair.
Oh, I mean, that really fired back at you.
It did, yeah. Not very clever.
No.
Okay, so then what about this one?
Oh, that was.
I will just say to people that is actually his arm.
That's not anything else.
No, that's my arm.
That's his arm.
That was after my operation in 2000 and November 2010, because I had loads of problems with my shoulder dislocating from an injury I had in 2007. And then in the end, I just ended up having an op on it and get it sorted. What wasn't that good was I didn't take my rehab very seriously, so I'm actually still having issues with it, even though I had an operation on it.
Well, speaking of having that shoulder dislocate like that, randomly, that's exactly what happened to my dad and his problems in Cardiff 2017, I think it was. And he was at practice because he fell down the stairs at his house. He went around the stairs of a corner, grabbed the side of the it was like the rail or something like that, and grabbed the side of it, and he slipped and fell, and then the arm actually popped out, broke a piece right here, and it came out that way. And then so he didn't notice, so he kind of slung it back into place. Yeah. Right? And he was like, I think good. And then went to Cardiff the next day, did a few interviews. My brother actually got food poisoning that trip, so it wasn't a good trip at all. So it was
maybe
just
on
Friday. Oh yeah. And then so the next day at practice, he went out and he did his first ride. It felt good. Second ride felt good. And then third ride, he goes into the corner and the thing just pops out the bottom. And he's like, what the? And he pulls in on the infield, and the doctor's like, oh, that went in really easy. That's scary easy. So he went back to the thing, taped it up, went out for the next practice, went all right until the last lap, and it fell out again. And then he was like, oh no. So then the next day he taped it up like a son of a gun, and then went out and he completed, I think, half a lap, and then it came out again.
Yeah, I remember that. It is the worst. It is the worst thing because the pain is unreal. Obviously, when your ligaments and stuff stretch, they're not as tight as they should be. So the looser they are, the less painful it is. But it's just you have no control. And that was sort of the same thing that happened to me in the end. I remember I had a meeting in Denmark, and up the straight, I just wanted to stretch my arms, and it just popped out, and I sort of had to pull back to get it in again.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not very good, but it's not safe for the riders either.
No,
But
and
it is the worst thing with shoulder injuries.
oh yeah, and I think like even the shoulder was only out for a short amount of time, but it was just the fact that the piece was broken. It would literally just, it's like a piece of glass, and if you have and you're holding a cup of water and the glass is broken, it's gonna leak out water. So it's just it kept coming in and out, and the doctor in the infield, he was like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Nothing." Just, he's not gonna say he fell down the stairs.
No, you're not.
I don't think he came out with that story. Like, I think he made up some story for the longest time. And then he just came out clean. He was like, I fell down the stairs. And all of his friends made fun of him for it. Like, you fell down the stairs at your own house.
It was dominant.
Yeah. Like, what are the odds that happens?
What was the story he came out with to start with then?
I can't even remember, but I remember listening to it. And we're just like, what? And we're like, all right, sounds good. And he's like, I'm not going to tell people what the actual story was. And I'm like, how long are you going to go with that for?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've just seen in the comments here, Charlotte said, I read the terms and conditions for stars, rather direct donate. It actually goes to Speedway. So the situation with the stars is actually a portion of it does go to us. It's not very much, but the rest of the money goes actually to Facebook, which means that they push the video out to more people. So in a way, you're helping with the advertising and pushing of the video, which is sort of the why the stars are actually quite good. We don't get very much money from it at all. And in fact, I don't think we've even reached the amount of money that we need to withdraw any money from it yet. So, yeah, but totally understand if you don't want to do any stars. We have got one here saying we wish we could see you in Wolves colours again. Nicolai.
Oh, if that will happen.
Will it ever happen?
I don't know. You never know. Obviously, Wolverhampton was the first place I came over. I rode for when I first came over in 2008, and I think I was there for, got to remember right now, 4 years maybe, and won a title with them in 2009. So yeah, 4 years I was there. So obviously it's a place that means a lot to me. But my contract was sold to Pool in 2017. So Pool owns my contract now. I said it's in England. So unless something happens, I don't think I will be back at Wolverhampton. But then again, you never know.
Never know. There's also one here saying, what's the story behind the Rye House move in 2016?
Oh, that's a good one. The thing was, it was a little bit of an awkward story. I sort of did a verbal agreement with the owners back then because I was stuck for offers. Obviously, they were riding in the championship, which was Premier League back then, and I would have liked to have an elite league contract. I didn't have any offers, and the owner or the promoter back then, I kept asking him for a contract because I wanted everything on paper and stuff. And then in the meantime, I had an offer from Leicester in elite league, and I grabbed that chance. And obviously, it wasn't a very nice thing to do to Rye House, but on the other hand, you have to think of yourself sometimes, and ended up being a good move for me, riding in a better league for my progress. Yeah,
for sure. We've got Dan Gilks here, who's one of our young lads that's all like working towards winning a Speedway bike, saying, hey, Nicolai, how do you mentally prepare for a meeting? And actually one of the other kids that's doing this program, Mason Watson's, also said the same thing. How do you get focused for a race meeting? And have you any tips for young riders starting out?
Well, it's not really any secrets. What I do, everyone is very, very different, and they do their own things individually. But I try to, it sort of, for me, it sort of starts already in the morning. When I wake up, it's important for me that I get a good night's sleep, not because I sort of need 10 hours, but it's the same if you have 8 hours and you go to bed at 10 or whatever, you feel better than you go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and sleep 10 hours, so it's important to get your sleep right. And then you start with your routines in the morning, breakfast. Instead of, like, some riders go for a run in the morning, I go for walks, an hour walk just to clear my head. And then I sort of try to eat the same things before race day. And then you come to the track and you sort of just go through the same things like you always do. Again, routines. And then something I do is I visualize a lot and try and stay mentally focused before the race. But then again, you can't be too pumped, because then you don't react on instinct. I feel if you're too pumped, you react on feelings instead, and that can be a little bit dangerous.
For sure.
We've got another question here. What's it like? What's it going to be like beating?
Getting beat
by Niels on a regular basis. Now you're both on the same league in Poland.
Brian, that's not going to happen.
I think he's calling you out, Nils.
No, that's the only answer I can give.
Here, going back to the giving advice and stuff like that. What do you eat and drink before a meeting? I mean, there's people that are not eating at all. There's people that have a light meal. There's people that scarf up a table. What do you do? Like, what do you have? Protein shakes, or do you do anything like that?
I've actually changed my sort of diet over the last year or so. I always used to have, I always have a big breakfast, because it's important to fuel up your body early on in the morning, and then obviously drink a lot of water from the day before, because some people think that you hydrate yourself from the morning and then by drinking a lot of water, but you actually hydrate yourself from the day before. So that's important. And then I eat salad with a lot of chicken. I found out that works better for me. Back in the day, or even a few years back, I had pasta, chicken pasta, but I tried that once this year, and I was so bloated. I had no energy. I was so tired. So I went away from that again.
Yeah, I know a few riders overseas and here as well that do similar to what the UFC does with their weight cuts and stuff like that. They want to race at a specific weight, so they'll drain their body with fluids and stuff like that, but at the same time they'll just lightly sip on waters and stuff during the races. So they'll be trying to keep their weight as low as they can up until the race starts, and then once the race starts, they do their first few meetings and they just sip on water, like electrolytes, supplement waters and stuff like that, and light bars and stuff. And what's interesting is, I mean, for me, that's a big toll on your body. But I think if you look at it and you're trying to keep a certain weight at the same time, I guess it might not be a big difference. But I mean, I've tried stuff like that, trying to drain your body, because I was a bigger kid on the 250s, and it's a lot harder to what you think when you get into that bigger weight on a smaller bike. But it drained my whole body, and I started getting tired. So I mean, did you focus on weight or anything like that when you would race?
It's funny you say that, because I think you sort of can, if you get your body used to doing that every time you race, it becomes normal. But I don't think it's very healthy, because it's the same if you're dehydrated. They actually say if you're dehydrated, it's the same as being drunk. And the same if you're tired, it's the same as drunk driving. But yeah, I tried to lose weight for this season. I think in 2019, I was around, let's say 71 kilos. In the summer when we raced this year, the lowest I was at was 66, 67. I sort of maintained at around, I don't know, between 68 and 70. But it's funny, like a lot of riders are focusing on weight because through the season I keep track of my weight and obviously look after what I eat and stuff like that. And we had the first time meeting in Ostrov, and I weighed 68 and a half or something like that, and then didn't race very, very well. 2 weeks after, we had next time meeting, and I was like, I need to cut some weight, so I weighed 66.
Wow.
And little bit better. And then the 2 weeks later, we had another high meeting, and it was not because I put on a lot of weight or whatever, but I had a lot of food the night before and chocolate cake. I like cake. That's my problem. And the morning,
we got a comment here saying, "Do you still enjoy donuts and cakes?"
Yeah, I do. I do. And when I weighed myself in the morning, I was 70 kilos. So obviously it's because my body haven't digested it and it just sits in my stomach. Yeah. But in the afternoon, I was 0.3 seconds from the track record. And it was the fastest time in how many years. So obviously you can sort of discuss if weight is so important, like everyone says. Of course it is to a certain extent, but if you're 2 kilos here, there, and everywhere, I don't think it's really making that much difference.
I think we spoke with Phil Morris before, and he was saying about like Zagar. They were saying about like counterweighting the bike or whatever, so everyone was at the same weight, because there's no way that like Zagar is ever going to weigh the same as Bartos. You know, like he's just tiny. They're just two completely different people. You know.
Yeah.
Which does that mean that Zagar's got an unfair advantage? But then can you turn around and tell Smarslik that he has to ride a heavier bike than Zagar?
But I mean, it's Smarslik. I think he can still pull that off. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, he can. But I don't think you can sort of do that because what do you say?
So he'll carry Wilbur on his back.
Yeah, it'd probably be similar weight then.
But I think it would be dangerous in Speedway to do that, because obviously the bike is so little compared to, let's say, a Formula One car or NASCAR or whatever. Yeah. So it would handle completely different if you did it on the bike. Then you had to do it on the rider if you wanted to add weight. But of course, on the bigger tracks, when they're slick or whatever, it's obviously an advantage to be a bit lighter. But yeah.
Zagar's not doing bad, is he?
Nah, he ain't. It's also, like Wilbur knows, it's also about how your gear ratio is set up and jetting and engine and line choices and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's your riding. I mean, you can't just put everything on the bike like that. It's yourself as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I race against riders. I'm going to speak in pounds here, but I race against riders over here that weigh about 95 pounds. Against me, who will weigh around 150, 155 at races. I mean, that's a big. It's like putting 50 pounds on the back of the bike and see how it's going to handle differently.
Especially on a 250.
Oh yeah, and then I mean, we do run smaller tracks and stuff like that, but I mean, out of the start, everything was in the start over here, and I just learned how to control my body weight more and just be fast with the clutch, But looking at it now, I would look at old pictures of myself and I would see like the different way my body was built and be like, I weigh 135 the beginning of the 2019 season and then 150 beginning of the 2020 season. That's a big difference. And then it's just like, and I would go into, because we got an announcement about 4 weeks before we had the American National Championship, which I won.
I did that one.
Yes, one of them.
How'd you do this year, though, Wilbur?
Well, I only won one of them this year. We'll do that.
I wish I had one of
them. But it's like, when you get that call for about 4 weeks, I kind of focused on my nutrition and weight and stuff like that more. And then when you just get your head straight and you want to win, I think that's all it really takes. And if you want it bad enough, I mean, my dad always says, "Don't you want to win?"
Yeah.
That's what. If you want to win, you win it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree on that. And also some people, they're too focused on the weight or on engines or whatnot, and they don't have the top in shape to winning. And it doesn't matter how light you are or who makes your engines and all that crap. If you're not ready,
if everything's not ready to go, you might run your mom over. Jez.
You're a dick. So let's go back to some of the photos. Who's your Speedway idols when you was growing up, Nicolai?
Tony Ricardson.
Oh, is this you in the middle there?
Yeah. It's me in the middle.
I thought it was one of either Jan Stackman or
who's the other two?
Jan Stackman and Sam Omalenko, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
They rode for my local team. I was only 4, 5, I think, back then.
Yeah. Wow.
What team was it? Was it in it looks like you guys are at a shoe store or something.
Yeah, they had like an autograph session in a shoe store in Varde, and they rode for Ultra back then. They had Jimmy. I think Jimmy Nielsen was riding for them as well.
Oh wow, it was a stacked team.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I was reading a book the other day, old teams and stuff like that. I think I have it here somewhere. And it was just like looking at the teams, how stacked every team was. It was hard to determine a winner at the beginning of the season. I mean, now it's like you get an idea if Lejno's going to win or Grosjean's is going to win or something like that. You know, the teams aren't as strong or equal as they were back then. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's like nowadays, I think it's because there's much more money involved. But then again, you know, when the years your dad have rode for Toron, you would think that they would have won easy. And one of the years they got relegated nearly, you know, so.
Yeah. Same with Perottina in like 2017 or something like that. They had a great team on paper, and then they ended up like almost dropping down.
They had a mad team that year.
Any tips for growing a beard from Brock Nickel?
There you go.
Well, you gotta be able to grow one first.
Looking at his profile picture, I think he does.
Yeah. So, do you want to explain this photo?
Yeah, that's old. I think that's from 2011. I think that's Nils. Fits him a bit better than me. I couldn't step it up, probably because my shoulder's a bit broader than his. But now
your body's a little bit longer too.
You don't look that comfortable.
No, I wasn't very comfortable. We had, I think we had a bit of a drinking session at Christian Lund's workshop, who's a dealer in Denmark, and then
I heard that's the place for parties after races.
Yeah, I heard so too.
Yeah.
And he had some suit for sale, and then we thought it would be funny to try and squeeze in one of the small ones.
Oh, that's funny. So, talking about funny moments, what is your funniest moment in the Speedway ever?
Oh, putting me on the spot now.
You probably have too many. I know a lot of the Danes have good stories.
But you know, it's always like this. When you have to think about something, it's hard to remember, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's plenty.
Yeah, but now it's obviously it's funny looking back now all the time.
I'll call Gertie.
Yeah, do that. No, I was I rode with two of my good mates in 2018 when I did a year for Workington in the championship, and that was pretty funny because we was traveling together all the time. So we had loads of banter, as to say in England.
Oh, I see.
Banter.
Christian Lund, we should have had him on as well. He probably got some great stories.
What happened in Abu Dhabi?
Uh-oh.
Oh, that was funny. When we won the league with Paul, Matt Ford invited us all over to Abu Dhabi for the F1.
Right.
And was there for like 3 or 4 days, I think. And that was mega. That was really, really cool. We was absolutely
awesome place, isn't it? That the
it's
Marina.
Oh, it's mega. It's mega. So we was hammered every single night, which was pretty cool. And then we had this, I think it's called, I can't remember the exact name for it, but it's like a dinner where you pay to eat and drink.
Brunch.
Exactly, that one, yeah. And then you
you can drink or you can eat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, for 4 hours. And Richie Worrell, who was also riding for Pool in 2018, he got very, very, very drunk, and he started swimming in the pool naked, and he couldn't walk, he couldn't say a word. And when we had to get out of the hotel and into the city, he was sick in the elevator.
I spent a lot of time in Dubai, and I don't really drink. I'm not much of a drinker at all. But people say, "Oh, you can't drink there, and you can't do this, you can't do that," and I'm like, "Dude, you definitely can." Like, I think I've been the drunkest I've ever been is in the Middle East.
Yeah. It's very, very expensive too. Like I don't drink normally either, but I don't do now because I'm older. But those few days, that was really, really cool. It was probably one of the best times away I've had with the team and the boys, and we had so much fun just in general. Yeah. And it's cool because you get tickets for the F1, but then there's a concert every single night. There was Post Malone, which I missed, and I was super gutted about it. But there was Sam Smith, The Weeknd, Guns N' Roses, and it was absolutely packed.
Wow,
it was mega. That was probably better. It was probably better than watching the F1.
Yeah.
So we have a question here from Ben Trigger, a rider who's in the running for the bike that we're giving away here. When you first started out, did you find all your racing parts yourself, or did you have sponsors that help you for that? I think surrounding yourself with the good people is a good way to say that as well. But what, in your words, how did you figure all that out?
It was very difficult to start with, to be honest, because we didn't have a lot of money, and we bought a second-hand bike, complete, and a rolling chassis second-hand off a rider called Hans Clausen. I think he rode for Peterborough back in the 90s. A Danish guy who also rode for Ultra. And we just started off there, and everything was box standard. And then I got a contract in Poland when I was 17 for Rosraf. And we bought 2 box standard Java bikes. And I remember the first time I came down, Marek Cieslak, who was the coach then, he told me to take my Java clutches off and buy so many Bs. So that was the first one that told me I needed some different clutches. But yeah, since then, it's just, I'm very interested in not what other people are doing, but what's happening, and trying to improve myself. Also on my equipment, I've tested a lot of stuff over the last few years, trying to see if there was something I felt more comfortable with or could make me go faster, and all these kind of things. Some of the things didn't suit, other things did. So yeah, I think it's obviously, if you can, I always say to people that are going out to try and find sponsorship, it's much easier to try and find sponsors who can supply you with parts or equipment, oil, gloves, goggles, whatever, than going out and ask for money. And that's a great start, because there's a lot of people that underestimate the fact how much value sponsorship or parts supply sponsors actually is worth.
My background is in action sports, and they have a completely different mentality to Speedway, I think. And it's no disrespect to the Speedway guys, but there's some real avid fans in Speedway, that will help a rider out for no gain to themselves.
Yeah.
And I think probably the biggest advice that I could give, I come from being sponsored and things like that, is you got to work out a way where you can turn around to a sponsor and say, I can give you this back. If you can turn around and say, right, if you give me £500, I'm going to make you 1,000. It's a no-brainer. They're going to do it.
Yeah,
They're going to give you money. But if you turn around and go, I want £500, what am I getting for it?
Nothing. I don't know.
Oh, you get a sticker on my bike. You know that.
Yeah.
But that sticker's not selling 500 quid worth of stuff for me. And I think once you get that into your head and you go, okay, right, I need to work out how I could make somebody else money, right? And then I can turn around and say, I want X amount, and I'll do this for you. You know, that's from my views of my experiences of things like that. But yeah, I think that's how
it's true, because most of my sponsors, well, not most of them, some of them obviously find it very important to be able to see their logo on me and my bike, where other people are more interested in what I can give them. And I'm very fortunate that at Danish meetings, I can invite them up for dinners. I can take them in the pits. I can give them free passes for the meetings, and also have events through the season and stuff like that, which they find much more important. And also they can bring customers out and all that. And also the stuff I do on social media. But then again, you know, it's difficult when a company asks you, oh, but am I going to sell more refrigerators if I sponsor you? It's a tough question to answer, isn't it? So you sort of got to work out how you can get them involved.
You know, I was saying to some of the boys, so we have like a weekly live chat with we've got 9 young lads that are all competing to win a Speedway bike that we're going to give away. And the other day we had this you know, chat with them, and I was saying, you know, if you do a video and it gets 20,000 views, do you know how many race meetings you've got to go before you, especially in the UK, before you're in front of 20,000 people? You know, so building up your social media and getting a good engagement and getting good reactions and views is essential, because what those sponsors want is they want their brand in front of people. And if you can do that without even putting your leg over the bike, then, you know, that's worth something on its own.
Yeah, it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's just, obviously, I know we're in an open forum here, but it is difficult nowadays, because some people, they're not that interested in social media still, where other people are. So it's sort of a mixed match sometimes. But obviously, if you could go out to a company, just let's say Coca-Cola, for instance, and say, oh, I have 20,000 views on all my videos every single week, then that gains more interest than saying, oh, I ride in front of 1,000 people every Thursday.
Yeah,
you know? For
sure.
And I think we were talking about making an intro videos and stuff on that, like you did. I think I was speaking with one of our great friends, Cameron Evans, the other day, and he was giving me ideas and stuff like that for sponsors, and making video resumes is like the now big thing. Not many people want to sit down and have a look at a document and go like this and say like, okay, we're gonna teach you how to, or you're gonna be able to do this and you're gonna be able to do that, but what can you show for me? If you make them a badass video and say, this is what I can do for you, I think that it'll be like, okay, I showed you this now. I made a cool video. You put yourself into a different scenario then, and they're like, huh, this kid's actually kind of cool. And like refrigerators, like, can I say, or it's like, I can sell you this many refrigerators, and be like, I'll guarantee you I can sell you this many refrigerators. I think the sponsors are going to go like, huh, even if you go to a big company like Coca-Cola, right? So like, I can sell you this many more packs. I promise you that. And if you can prove that, you'll be making deals for the future as well.
Yeah, that's true. But that the intro video thing, that was actually one of the reasons why I got that made, obviously to put it on my social media and website and stuff like that, but also to go out when I went out to sponsors and sort of show them who I was and what I was doing, because still not many people know what Speedway is. So they had an intro of who I was, and also to see what Speedway is all about. But like you guys say, like social media is so important, and it's more everything just becomes more digital now, and the more you can brand yourself, the better. That's why I try to make post race videos every single time I race this year, because if I was writing something, a statement or whatever, then you can read it 1,000 different ways, can't you? So it's easier to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Let's
So,
get this comment out of the way, Roy. We didn't get cover that one.
Wait, read this one. This is a good one. Have to say, of all the riders we have sponsored in the past, Nicolai has hands down the best. Some riders take your money and don't hear from them hardly ever. Nicolai would call and always make an effort with us. There we go. There's a claim.
Thank you, Matt. No, him and his wife Sarah, they're very nice people. They helped me out in the last season. I rode up pool in 2019, and obviously every time I was down there and I saw them, they came over in the pit and I said hello and stuff like that, like I do to all my sponsors. And when I was down in pool and stuff like that, I always try to call in when I had time, and that's the same I do in Denmark. Because coming back to sponsors, obviously some people, they go out in January or December or whatever and say hello, do you want to sponsor me? And then they give you a check, and then next time they see you is at the end of the season or whenever, when you got to pick up the next check, and they don't appreciate that. It's important that you keep in contact through the season, and more they actually appreciate a cup of coffee or a phone call or whatever more than you think, because then they appreciate that.
Okay, so what things helped you improve quicker coming up through the rankings? That's also kind of with sponsors and stuff like that, the right people around you. What did help you improve quicker?
Well, to start with, I put my brain in the toolbox. It's actually a good question, because I've always been a slow learner. Even
Same as Wilbur.
It's better though, isn't it?
At least I didn't run my mom over.
I was just taking it steady. I remember we didn't have a lot of money when I started out, so I either got given or I bought old clutch plates. And for those who don't know, it have like the fibers have like teeth, that like alloy teeth, and then we used to grind them off with a grinder, and every single space within we used to grind as well, so we got more fiber out of the plate. But that meant my pack was thinner. But that was the only thing I could sort of afford back then. And then obviously I wouldn't say money is important, because you shouldn't go out and put 20 grand into everything because you think that's going to help you improve, because I've done that as well and that didn't work. But I think it's important to focus on what you can do to improve. So you make a plan, and then you take one step at a time. So if you take, for example, I want to pass, then you improve your passing, and you go to the next one, and blah 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 blah. And also have your background, your team on your side. It's so important to have the right people involved.
For sure, I definitely agree with that. We'll round up the show here a little bit. But back in the day, it was so hard to do anything with social media, and they still be able to get sponsors and stuff like that. Looking back at it, do you feel like social media is a big help for riders nowadays?
It is. Yeah, it is. But then also it's a bit of a, I don't know if I should call it what I should call it, but it's some way it makes it a little bit harder, because back in the day, the only advertisements they could get was on you, whereas now they can just share a post on Facebook and then it's easy done, innit? So you have to really sell it and sell the whole experience and the idea to the companies you go out to. And then obviously you can include social media in the package.
Agreed. It can get you in trouble, but at the same time can benefit you. So it's just to play your cards right.
And you got to, like, you probably know this, Bill, but you got to be careful what you say on your private Facebook account or Twitter or whatever, and what type of pictures you upload on Instagram, because everyone sees them.
Exactly.
Well, talking of that,
Oh no.
we do have one photo. Can you explain what's happened on the boat trip in WA?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I've covered up the censored bit, but
Where do you find these photos?
that wasn't even the worst one. That honestly wasn't the worst one. There was way worse ones than that, and I went for the tamest.
No, that was pretty cool. That was the first time first and only time I was in Australia. I went to Perth to do the Rob Woofenden Classic in 2011 with Typropter, and then we was teaching some kids and hang out with
The locals.
with Brad
Yeah.
Muller, who invited me down there, and it was an awesome trip. And then we sort of finished off with a boat trip. It was me, Ricky Kling, Ricky Wells, Rasmus Jensen, Cameron Woodward, Proctor, Simon Stead, and then obviously there was some female company as well. I wasn't involved in that.
Yeah. So to wrap up the show, I just wanted to say, do you want to tell us where you can get all of your merch? I've seen these on.
Yeah, I actually have some. Yeah, I actually have some new stuff. That's that.
This one.
Me and Jez would love to have some if you know.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I'll sponsor you some. I'm meant to have a web shop open and get some more stuff made. I've just had some masks made. Obviously, you need to wear them nowadays, and some other cool bits and bobs. So hopefully, within not too long, I'll get a web shop open, and then I'll let everyone know.
Awesome.
All right, bud. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on. Like it's been good to have a chat.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool.
And if you just stay behind when I drop you out the show, and then we'll have a little catch up
after.
Yeah. All right, dude.
Cool.
See you in a second.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Peace.
Yeah. There we go. What a show.
That was awesome.
That was really cool. Next week we've got we actually don't know what's going to go on next week. We've got lots of things that are in the pipeline.
But what we can say is that there's talks of a former speedway rider who has now a very famous son who is in the motocross industry that has agreed to come on the show. It's not 100%, but Ryder DeFrancisco as well as Randy DeFrancisco are the guests for the show in the next coming weeks here. I think there's others that we can say. Jerry?
Let's not say anything.
All right.
But Ryder DeFrancisco, if you haven't seen him, is unreal on a motocross bike. His dad was a rider in California, road speedway. So we want to get him on just to talk, what's the difference between speedway and motocross in like how they're promoting the sports and things like that, and what we could do.
For the younger riders, hearing great advice for marketing and sponsor wise. That kid has
got it now.
Wasn't he like 500,000 plus on Instagram? Yeah. He's something crazy. And it's going to be very interesting to hear his story, and you'll be getting some great tips from him. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
for sure. And also last week's show, to apologize for that. The situation, we were supposed to have Rob Godfrey and Damien Bates on the show, and I don't think all the things were sorted their end. So it got pushed back, and then it obviously hasn't happened. I spoke to them earlier this week, and they promised as soon as they can announce what's happening with the leagues and stuff in the UK this year, they will be on the show, and they will be answering your questions. And for the few that have been asking, it will be live, so you can literally ask them whatever you like, and hopefully they'll answer it. So we will announce in the next few days when we have confirmed who we're going to have next week. But I can tell you now it's going to be good. So
thanks for watching. It's been great.
Adios.
Peace.